The mid to late 1970s are often regarded as what many would call the first golden era for Japanese performance motorcycles. In a world previously crowded with American, Italian, and British bikes, the Japanese manufacturers committed to a full-fledged assault on performance at this time, and they handily won at that. And the motorcycle that was at the top of the food chain leading this charge was none other than the Kawasaki KZ1000. The Kawasaki KZ1000 itself was first introduced in 1977 as the new top-of-the-line performance model from Kawasaki to replace their prior Z1 and offer an even higher level of performance. The new KZ1000 would utilize the 900cc dual overhead cam air-cooled inline 4 from the Z1 as the base, and then punch out its displacement to 1015cc. By increasing the displacement around 10%, Kawasaki was able to squeeze 85 horsepower out of the new and improved 1000cc power plant, even at a fairly low mid-1970s compression ratio of just 8.7 to 1. The KZ1000 was also adorned with 4 VM26SS carburetors that helped feed its appetite, which was transferred to the ground through a 5-speed transmission. Now, make no mistake, in today's 1000cc superbike world, these numbers themselves aren't very good. But back in 1977, these were absolutely rapid, with Cycle World even headlining the bike as the fastest stocker we've ever tested. And fast it was, ripping off an impressive 12.6 second standing quarter-mile time at 106 miles per hour with an overall top speed of around 135 miles an hour. It was easy to see why publications and riders alike were so in awe of the new KZ1000. It was fast, easy to look at, and it represented a pretty good value per dollar at just around $2,500 US when new. But the coolest thing about the KZ1000 wasn't just its world-class performance figures. No, it was that this bike was made in a street version and in a police version known as the KZ1000P. The west coast of the United States specifically loved the KZ1000P police bikes and employed them in some of the most prolific police departments like the California Highway Patrol and others, which only added to the lore of these bikes. Imagine blowing down the Pacific Coast Highway in 1977 without a care in the world, only to get lit up and pulled over by the same bike that you were riding. While the speeding ticket that you would get handed wouldn't be fun afterwards, maybe you could try and find your way out of it by finding some common ground in the fact that both you and the cop were riding essentially the same motorcycle. The police versions did receive a large fiberglass front fairing and set of front pursuit lights that obviously didn't come fitted to the stock KZ1000. And after a couple years of production excellence, the KZ1000 received its first overhaul in the early 80s. The Kawasaki KZ1000 was released in a special edition that moved to a fuel injection system in 1980. This was the KZ1000H, which was essentially a one-year run testbed bike for future fuel-injected designs from Kawasaki. But 1981 saw the largest overhaul for the KZ1000 with the introduction of the KZ1000J. The J series bikes saw a total overhaul when it came to the engine department, as new racing regulations for the superbike class prohibited engines over 1000cc in displacement, and the KZ1000's existing 1015cc engine obviously wouldn't cut it. So Kawasaki decreased the bore slightly and overhauled the internals of their engine to give it a new total displacement of 998cc to make it eligible to race. These internal overhauls also included a set of larger 34mm carburetors, bigger valves, a lightened rotating assembly, and a more aggressive camshaft that all culminated in the new power output of 102 horsepower, which was a lot more than the prior 85 horsepower, even at a lower overall displacement. The KZ1000 with the J series upgrades was now an even more impressive performance machine just a few years after its launch, and on the racing circuit, it was able to record an impressive track record with wins in the AMA Superbike Championship in 1977, 1978, and 1981. But 1981 is essentially where the end of the KZ1000 also began. Behind the scenes, Kawasaki was working on releasing their new liquid-cooled line of motorcycles, which would go on to become the iconic Ninja lineup that would shape the brand for decades. 1982 was the end of the production line for the street versions of the KZ1000. But the police versions, the KZ1000Ps, remained in production and faithful service on the streets of the West Coast until the early 2000s. And that is the short story of Kawasaki's four-cylinder icon, the KZ1000. If you enjoyed this video, we would greatly appreciate it if you could drop a like and also share this video with other enthusiasts. Also, please make sure that you are subscribed to the Rare Motorcycles YouTube channel and smash that notification bell for more documentary-style videos just like this on the world's most interesting motorcycles. Until next time, enthusiasts.